right, we're back again.
Hey, what's up?
Episode, 21?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're putting a live show out. Did that the other day. Man, I had fun doing it. I'm not even going to lie to you.
I think we might have a future motivational speaking, man. We got something.
Yeah.
I'm not even fucking around. Your mom attended. One of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people that we haven't seen in a long time.
Look, I saw somebody I hadn't seen in 4 or 5 years, man. Somebody showed up, didn't say anything.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, I listened to your mixtape, I listened to your podcast, and I heard you were coming down here, so I decided to come after work. I was like, what? He didn't say anything to me. He didn't say he liked them until I saw him. And thank you so much for coming through, Nate. I appreciate it.
And
super nice to see him.
To find out that it was referred to him by somebody else is even cooler. So he was like, yeah, somebody put me on, and I tuned in. So
which makes me feel even crazier that Steph's connections, man. Things just come back full circle.
Yeah.
It's weird hearing about somebody through somebody else.
Yeah.
In a non, they don't know them at all. They're not invested, so they're just like, yo, you know what you need to check out? This is nuts. That actually happened really pretty recently. Somebody was telling me that they knew you. I don't remember who it was though. So, I interact with a decent amount of people. Somebody was like, yo, I know that nigga. He got that nice ass clothing line. I was like, yo, that's my friend. It was weird, man.
Yeah.
Hearing people talk about somebody, it's nuts. I think it went really well, though.
It did.
I was a little nervous just because, I invite 100 people out to stand up and then 2 people come.
Right.
Because, they're like, oh, he does this all the time. It's, I'll come the next time.
Yeah.
And then the next time. But, yeah, we had a good turnout, man. I'm glad we waited the 15, 20 minutes that we did before we started.
It was good timing.
Because they kind of got into it after that.
Right.
We got a lot of cool stuff. And if you listen to the podcast, if you go back and listen to it, we actually included the part where we did the Q&A. So you could hear some of the things that we were interacting with people. We were trying to find solutions for things they were doing. So you could hear us talking to people in real time. So it was dope.
I know we edited some stuff out. Did you leave in the cruise lady?
Pretty sure the cruise lady's in
okay,
there.
Yeah. So when you listen to that episode, that's my favorite part.
I'm pretty sure the cruise lady.
It was completely random. We had no idea what she was talking about. Not even gonna lie to you, but it's a good story.
You said some shots at her just now. She run up on you at a Brandon event. Yo, what would you say all that wild talk about? Yeah, she just. So we were trying to get an idea of what people were doing, and somebody just out of the blue was talking about cruises. Yeah. Just getting people to come to
literally
cruises.
Is how you hear it is how we processed it.
Yeah, you're like, that's the problem. You think it costs a lot of money. That's like what?
You got everybody together. Nobody dropped out. Everybody had a good time. Oh, okay. All right, cool.
It's one of those things. It's something I deal with a lot. The idea that some people have everybody has a conversation in their head, right?
Yeah.
But it's the good communicators that realize that you have to give people context to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So you don't sound like a mad person talking in the middle of a sentence about something you had a conversation with yourself about.
Yeah, because how you connect things in your brain, if you don't say it out loud and just jump to the last thought that you had, there's no connection to everybody else around you.
Right.
So.
Sometimes you actually have to over-explain, especially when you're in some of the forum that we were in.
Right.
And I gotta give you props on that. We kind of explained everything from the beginning, all of the details of it that we could think of, just so we can give people context of how everything works for us and how we get motivated, and it's dope.
I think the presentation was good. Everybody enjoyed our 18 megapixel selfie.
So I'm a big fan of stick figures, and I drew a portrait of us. You significantly taller than me. It was so funny, and I realized those personal touches are the things that make people like stuff, man. It's just. It might be tense. They might think that you're just going to talk at them. And then you bring something light in, like a stupid little picture of me and you. It just kind of opened up the room, man. I had a really good time.
And then I'm glad we get one more episode in before I head out to Portland. I'm gonna be out there for a little bit over a week.
Speak on it. Let us know what's happening.
I mentioned it a little bit. I think when we sat down with Pierre and Jamila and got accepted into Penn Sol Academy. So it's a footwear design school. They only take like 4% of their applicants. I applied for 2 programs that they had coming up. One was a 1-week course, and then another one was a 3-week master class with ASICS as a collaborator. Ended up getting into the 1-week one, so I'm going to go out there, and it's going to be like a real intense situation. So we're going to be doing like 10 to 12 hour work days, and going to be learning and working on a lot of different things. And if I come out as the top student in that situation, I'll get invited back to the next 3-week one that they're doing. So got a lot of opportunities out there, and then I know a few designers and stuff that out there that I'm going to try to meet with and do some networking in the meantime. I might take my mic out there and see if we can sit down and have some conversations. Maybe we can have like some bonus episodes for the podcast or something.
Yeah, man. At the very least, talk to Tegan.
Yeah.
Look, man, I think that everything happens for a reason, and things are falling into place in a weird way.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I lost a friend to Portland a couple months ago. My friend Tegan moved to Portland when we were working together at Under Armour. I was sad. And then you tell me that you're going to Portland. And I'm like, I know somebody in Portland. Let me see if y'all can meet up. And you guys are going to talk, man. That makes me so happy. It makes me super happy that you're going to be. And then hopefully we can get you up with Jordan.
Yeah.
See what's up with Jordan.
I got to reach out to him.
All this stuff kind of coming together.
Yeah, everything is happening at once. And then when I come back, ABC News wants to do a feature with me, so I'm going to be doing that too.
Get the fuck out. And then Baltimore County said they want to do a feature on us too.
Yeah.
So, and I got asked, God, I don't know if I told you this. And they kind of said
I was there saying, passing. They threw a lot at us. Like they want to.
Also got asked to possibly host some things related to the Baltimore County school system, kind of teaching people about kind of leaning into their creative stuff, and I'm gonna have you aboard of that. But yeah, we got asked about a couple of things. Do we respond to the email? We need to respond to the email.
I did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
thank you.
I gotta stop by and pick up some of the actual pamphlets that they put together for the BC Make series, just so we can have some copies, and then they said they'll send us the video when they get a chance.
So long story short, it went really well, and there's more information to come. We got a lot of stuff going, and we have a guest today. One of my first and foremost, let me start from the very beginning. This is one of my closest friends, one of my favorite people in the world. It's weird because I'm doing a podcast with a close person, a friend of mine, and I'm bringing somebody on. This is probably the first time I've brought somebody on that's as close as they are to me. And he's one of those people who, just a part of the branded whole idea, he helps me when I have an idea in my head, kind of pound it out, think of stuff to do, and I've tried to do the same for him. I could be a little hard on him. He's one of my favorite people, and I know he's a talented person. And sometimes it takes you talking to them. It takes a friend to put a mirror to that person, like, look, man, you're a talented dude. And we've come a long way. And now you're a freelance photographer, one of my favorite people in the damn world. Blake Thomas. What's up, man? Welcome.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me here. I was a little caught off guard with that whole speech, but a lot of all of it is very true, and a lot of the stuff that Ronald was saying, it helps me out. It's made me a better person. Just a quick story, like even just when he says freelance photographer, it's just something as easy as me on the phone with him, like, I think I should do a website, and him literally like, do a website. Do it right now. I'll call you tomorrow. Have it up.
Screaming at this man.
Yeah. And you need that.
Right.
You need that because instead of just thinking it, like one thing Ronald's always taught me, it's like, why you still thinking it? Just do it.
Right.
What's going to happen? All right, I'll call you tomorrow. Have it up. So no, I definitely appreciate both you guys having me on here, and even just listening to your story, Donte. I'm just like, wow, you know, like I'm already proud, you know. And I'm like, jeez, it ain't even been 10 minutes.
Right.
So I appreciate it.
So, tell us your story. Where you from?
I'm from Baltimore County.
Cool.
And the story basically is one day, I have nephews that do football, and my oldest nephew he was really, really talented at a very young age, and my brother was like, man, you've been doing all these like edits, this Photoshop, you know, and he's like, well, why are you just editing your pictures? You should take them. You know, why don't you take them? And we basically put our money together, got a camera. I knew nothing about an SLR camera, nothing at all. I was just like, oh, okay, this is the cameras you see on TV.
You're right.
And long story short, I still to this day have never taken pictures of my nephew. But being so intrigued and being like, well, why am I editing somebody else's picture? I'm gonna learn how to do this. And basically, I work in the professional wrestling industry, and I'm a really good friend of mine by the name of Ruckus. He was like, oh, you do music and you do this, and we're about to start our own company. Yeah. You know, and he's like, you should do photography for it. Okay. You know, so I have a friend Todd. Todd's like, here's some stands. You know, and I'm like, what paper should I buy? And Todd's like, buy this. I'm talking to Ronald. Ronald's like, you got this clothing line. Come downstairs and shoot it. I'm okay. Still barely know anything about an SLR. Shooting these pictures, shadows. I thought the pictures were terrible when I look at them in 2017.
Yeah, right.
But in those days, I'm like, whoo,
killing them.
Like, we killing them. We gonna do this. But we started going to the wrestling shows and just doing the photography, and you know, my teacher and I have a degree in YouTube because my teacher YouTube taught me how to use a SLR camera.
Okay.
You know, and 2017, you know, I'm very blessed and grateful to say that I've been in over 23 magazines for wrestling, all from America to the UK to Japan. I've been able to work with talent from that have made it to the WWE or to Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor. I had the blessing to work with Ring of Honor. I had the blessing to work with Impact Wrestling, and just a ton of people from all across the world, New Zealand, you know, UK, Japan, all these people, and you know, in 2017 now in our wrestling community, and now just having so many people like, hey, I know you. I'm like, okay, we have to do a photo shoot. All right. You know, and to have people like, oh, this guy. I was at a wrestling show yesterday, and one of my vets pulled me to the side, and he gives me a big hug, and he's around a group of people, and he's like, did you see all those people that's on this Mae Young Classic? 32 of them. He's probably shot with all of them almost. You know, and they're like, oh, that's you? And I'm like, dude, I'm okay. You know, and but it's very humbling. It's a weird type of emotion to really explain, of happiness. And to be a part of the wrestling community, I was accepted as what we call a booker. And
we got to talk about that.
Yeah, you know. So I'll save the rest of that.
Right. So the common thing throughout all of this, the thread is wrestling. Yes. So talk about when you first started watching wrestling and how it's kind of evolved into what it's become now.
I've been watching wrestling since I was probably like 3. And what I used to do was with my brother and my cousins, I consider my 2 cousins my brothers too. I would get the wrestling figures, and my talent was I would memorize everybody's music. So, like, you know, if I had Sting's wrestling figure, you know, if he's walking down the aisle, you're going to give me 2 minutes because I'm going to sing his music. And, like, as I got older, I just kept following it. And, you know, it was one of those things where I was blessed to go to different schools with people that liked wrestling and all of this. And then high school, and then out of high school. And then it's like, I met Ronald through a mutual friend, and he's like, oh, he watches wrestling too? I'm like, what? So, and the blessing was one day, it was Ronald, my friend Todd, and Valance. Like, you want to come to this MCW show? And I was like, oh, okay, what is this? And they took me to it. Blew my mind, met Larry Legend. That was like the first person I met.
Who we have to have on here at some point.
100% have to.
Jesus
have
Christ! Jesus Christ!
He's
a announcer who does all sorts of sports events. We gotta talk to him at some point.
We ran into him when we were down Peter Palooza. He was announcing that.
So Blake, did I tell you about that?
Yes.
Yeah, insane. Man. We didn't even know he was supposed to be there. So we were like watching the event, and we hear coming up. Weighing 180 pounds. We're like, who the fuck? How is Larry here? I text Larry, and he's like, we're gonna let you backstage meet Joey Badass, but I was tired. I had to go. But yeah, it was good to see Larry. So.
I watched Larry hosting in Madison Square Garden, and I'm just like, I'm like, he's everywhere.
Right? He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
So to connect all of this, I went to high school with Larry, and. We went to the wrestling match together and met Larry, and then we met Ruckus, who you wound up connecting with.
Yeah, we met Ruckus, and if anybody's ever met Ruckus, he's one of the just laid back, coolest dudes. And I remember I was looking at Ronald and Valance and everybody, and I was like, I'm gonna do their music. I'm gonna ask him if I can do their music. So we go to their table where they're selling merchandise. I go to Ruckus and his manager Robbie Marino. I'm like, I want to do your music. And he's like, all right, well, just have it at the next show. Okay. So, we were very serious. We did his music. Went to his house, gave it to him. He's like, yo, we will use this. Yo, this hot right here. That if anybody's listening, this is how Ruckus talks. But we connected through the music, and then, it went to the photography, and Ruckus, he was one of the main people too that was just like, come with us. I'll take you to this show and I'll take you to that show. Yeah. And from those times, I, made connections at these other shows and started developing friendships and, this working partners. And that whole time, I started backing away from the music and focusing more on photography.
Right.
But after having so many, this was like maybe 2 years in. They like people like Ruckus and people like my friend Derek Frazier and a lot of people. They were like, dude, you have a lot of knowledge in wrestling. You have a lot. What about if we ask you a question? So I would go to Ruckus' house, and this is when we were starting our own company, and I would be like, well, what about if you book this match like this, this, and this? And he's like, oh, yo, we gonna do that. And I'm like, okay. So as it gradually the shows go on, people are just like, why don't you do it? So I was blessed enough to be a part of it was called Real Championship Wrestling in Baltimore, Maryland. I was a part of their booking team, and eventually became like the I don't want to say the top booker because that sounds bad, but we had a group, but it was, we worked together as, fan, wrestler, and then person that, understood both sides. So years later, it just connected with a lot of things. And one thing that was always close to my heart was women's wrestling. So at RCW, we would always be like, let's have a women's match. We're going to make them the main event. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I met some of my closest friends doing that. And fast forward to now, it's like now not only do I just do the photography for freelance or, for wrestling shows, I now book for a all-women's company in New Jersey called WSU. Women's Superstars Uncensored. Do not get fooled by the uncensored. It's real women's wrestling. It's nothing crazy, but cool. That's where we're at right now.
Cool.
So this has pretty much just been like passion projects, and they turned into like real great opportunities for you.
Yes, and like one thing about me is like I'm always working. So even like last night I was at a show, and the whole time a lot of my friends, they get on me because they're like, can you just sit down and watch this as a fan? And I'm like, no, I can't, because I'm constantly like, well, what if we did this and this and this, and then I'm looking at it, even if it's some of our talent or talent you never seen. I'm like, oh wow, like, well, we can bring her in, or what if she came down and did a flip? So my brain is always constantly moving.
Right.
And even lately, yes, I still love my photography and everything, but I've been so focused on basically talent scouting and agenting and booking shows, because it's like you said, I started watching wrestling when I was 3. If you're in the wrestling business and your goal isn't to be in WWE, that's just very rare. So even somebody that does, I don't like limelight. I always like to be behind the scenes. I always tell people that, like, Chad Hugo's my hero. Because he's like, all right, Pharrell, you do it. But he's still collecting the check. Yeah. So ever since I found that out, I've always been like, man, I look up to Chad. I want to be like Chad. Like, look, y'all can have the light. Let me just do backstage stuff. Right. And I just would like to let everybody know out there that, yes, wrestlers want to get to WWE, but there's also a lot of hard-working backstage personnel, whether it's photography or anything. Because when I'm at a show, I'm doing photography. I'm helping put matches together. I'm going to there to watch the match. I'm going to give critiques to the match. Then I'm going to do the shoot. Then I'm going to go back. So I'm doing like 5 or 6 things. Right. But that's my passion. That's what I want to do.
So tell us a couple questions. What makes a good match for people who aren't familiar with the art of wrestling? Because a lot of people say it's fake, but you know, it's understood before you even hop into it that people aren't just going up to each other, pivoting off of the ropes just to, there's rules to it. It's almost like dribbling in basketball, right? It's
not like movie acting where like it's fake contact, like you miss their face, things like that.
It's guidelines to follow to play the sport, right? So you have to do certain things. Tell me about what wrestling it means to you, and have you lost some of the the mystique of it? Because you're seeing it behind the scenes. Like, how do you feel about it now versus the way you used to feel about it?
Well, now I don't necessarily say I lost the mystique. I got a better understanding. Okay. Because younger, back in the day, I remember watching. It was like Jerry Lynn versus the Lightning Kid. I think if any of them are listening and I'm wrong about this, please correct me. But this was in it wasn't a WWE or anything like that. And I remember I was so invested in one of the wrestlers, whoever was the good guy. Right. And they lost, and I just cried. I'm like, oh my God, no. But it depends, because I think there's a lot of different fans now. But it all depends on, like, for me, I like the art of storytelling. Yeah. I still like the whole, there's a good guy and there's a bad guy. We'll call him a heel and a face. And in that match, it all depends on what you want to see. Like, I look at it like a casual fan. A lot of them more casual fans, they just want to be involved in some kind of way. So, like the show I was at last night, these fans, they weren't all about the high spots. They weren't about, let's see this guy do 2 flips off the top rope and then 8 super kicks and all of this stuff. As long as you got involved in the match, as long as that bad guy told the fans, shut up. And then the good guy said, you shut up. The whole place goes crazy.
Right.
So I think it all depends on what type of show you want to go to. There is a very indie type of show, and then there is a more family friendly, casual type of show. Both of them have a great art. Like, some of my favorite wrestlers that I look up to, that I'm like, these dudes are amazing for what they did. I will not put their business out in the street from what I saw, but are the Young Bucks. Like, if anybody's familiar with the Young Bucks, they are the name in independent wrestling. These guys went from people telling them, like, we don't need you here anymore, to them going, okay, we'll be the biggest things in wrestling. First guys to have their group, the Bullet Club, they have deals in Hot Topic. You can buy Young Bucks Bullet Club shirts at Hot Topic. There's a plug, Young Bucks. You know, but what they did is different. A lot of people might not like it. They have something called the super kick party, where they're going to super kick you. Look, I've seen matches where it's 32 super kicks. You know, and some fans will eat it up, and then you'll get some fans that's like, well, Shawn Michaels only had to do it once. And what I'll tell them is, they're not disrespecting Shawn Michaels.
Right.
This is a different type of art.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for me,
Super
when we put matches together, you know, I'm not somebody that's going to be like, all right, it has to be this, and this. A lot of the times I'm going, you know, here's the canvas, paint the picture. I got faith in you guys or you girls, and okay, this is what I think the finish should be. This is what we would like the finish to be. This is who we want to win. You insert the rest, and then we'll work together to put it together. So that's how I do it.
Right.
You know, a lot of people don't. There's some people out there that's just like, go out there and kill it. Ronald, you're up. That's it. You know, and then it's up to you to do it. But it all depends on what type of fan you are. And look, some of us fans, we like it all. I do. I sometimes I need to see a super kick party. And sometimes I want to see just a good wrestling match. And then sometimes maybe I want to see a lucha match. You know, all of it to me, it's an art that I respect and I enjoy to watch.
Cool.
So you walked us all the way up to the point where you started doing like professional photography. Where was that transition from just taking pictures, going to shows, and to starting to getting your stuff published into magazines and stuff like that?
Okay, so I have a really good friend named Mia Yim. She would come up to me, or I remember, I'd asked her. I was like, hey, you want to do a photo shoot? And we did it. And, you know, I was like, boom, it's okay. She's got new, what they call promo pictures. Mm-hmm. And what a lot of people do with their promo pictures, you know, they'll print them up, sell them at the shows. And then another friend, her name is Kim. She is now Abby Leif in WWE. You know, I went to her around the same time and was like, hey, you want to do pictures? And yeah, she did it, you know, and these were when things started really getting noticed. Like when people were like, whoa, that's really good. Hold up, Blake did that? But there was one person, her name is Veda Scott. This is when I worked at ROH doing their promo photography. Veda came to me and she was like, I want to do a photo shoot. And Veda, I love you and everything, but I'm going to have to put you out there for a second. Veda had no poses. All she had was jazz hands and hands on hips. That's it. And we did a photo shoot, and I was like, look, how about you do this? Like, turn this way, turn that way, da-da-da-da-da, and she loved it. Mm-hmm. So when she got the edits and everything back, she was the first one to go online and be like, hey, get your stuff done by Blake Thomas of Blizz Photography, do this, and she made it like a brand. Like, she was like, look, I'm telling you, this is where you go, nowhere else. And the way that she promoted it, like, swarms of people were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were doing this professionally. I thought you just did it at shows. How can I set up a photo shoot? Yeah. So I give a lot of credit, like, for the Blizz Photography to her, you know. And we're in 2017 now. Legit, this is a true story. About, I say, 2 weeks ago, because I talk to Veda all the time. She texts me, and she's like, hey. I'm like, hey? And she's like, I think I'm going to re-release our shoots from 2013 because people are going nuts about it. Oh. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. And she re-released, like, some that people have never seen, and they just sold. And she was just, you know, I text her, and I just was like, just let you know that what we do is timeless. You know, because I'm sitting there like, in my brain, I'm like, I don't even edit how I did in 2013. Right. You know, and one thing I was taught in photography by other photographers is they were like, you're going to hate your first 10,000 pictures. So, like, when I look back at them, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is what we know. You know, like, what is this?
Right.
And even for me, because, like, I'm always working, sometimes I'll get bored. I'll pull out an old picture and I'll re-edit it.
Right.
You know, and then I'll look at them both and I'm like, oh my goodness,
Right.
like, and people bought this, but I give her a lot of credit to making it into not only just a brand, but giving me so much more confidence. Along with, trust me, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like this guy to my left, like I said, drill Sergeant Ronald,
Yeah, right.
So no, that's for me in the wrestling business for the photography part. I give her a lot of the credit, and like I said, the people like Kim and people like Mia, they were people that were the first ones to really give me a chance.
Right.
And then that one chance, like, especially I work with a lot of women. They were just like, I love this, and
right.
I feel this, and now you made me confident. And the one thing I've always wanted to do is, like, I have a friend, and I remember she went through a lot, and I reached out to her and I said, I want to do a photo shoot with you, and I just want you to have these edits and have these pictures, because I want you to remember that even in the times when you're upset, remember how beautiful you are. And it really hit her. Me and this person hadn't talked in years, but it wasn't about the money for me. It wasn't about that. This was my way of saying, like, don't forget your beauty. So with everything, even with shoots, there's a message in a lot of them, or I'll do it as a story.
Gotcha. So how does it feel as a photographer now to take these pictures of these indie artists, indie wrestlers, and to see them in these different organizations now? You still have their number. You still talking to them, except this time you might see them slam somebody, and 2 million viewers are showing on USA and on the Monday Night Raw. How does that feel, man?
It is a weird, happy emotion. Like, I think about it like when I see kids, and I think the show got canceled now. When I used to see kids watch like SpongeBob and go nuts inside and all that, and in my heart, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Especially if you've seen somebody come from the beginning all the way up to it. Like, I'll bring her up again, my friend Mia Yim. We seen her since she basically was training. And even when we used to book her in RCW, we made her we made her lose for a year. We were like, look, you're going to lose every match. And
that's hard.
But it toughened her up. Yeah. And when, so me and her, we've had this ride together. Like, we were in ROH together. Then, I saw her wrestle, Sarah Del Rey, who was the lead trainer for the women in WWE. And then, she went to Impact Wrestling, and, I was going to Florida, and she's like, hey, I think I can get you a job. And then they were like, hey, we want you to shoot today. And it's like, now she just took part in the Mae Young Classic for WWE. Okay. And the big thing with that is, I saw her win a championship in Impact, and now I see this, and it is a very, like, grateful, like, wow, these people are making it. Like, I have a really close friend named Nikki that's in the WWE, and one day I was just, how you just not feeling it some days, and right. She was like, hey, you coming to NXT tomorrow? I was like, I don't know. Like, no, come, I got you. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So I come, and it's one of those things where, you're like, all right, well, you got will call tickets. So, I'm looking around, and I'm with my friend Brian and his son. I'm like, yeah, all right, we'll be in the bleachers. So we get the will call tickets, and Brian taps me on my shoulder. He says, it says front row. I'm like, huh? So I'm looking like, what? And it's like, we're front row. I've never been front row at any event. Like, I'm like, what? So then, Nikki texted me. She's like, you like the match? Come to the left of the stage at intermission. I'm like, okay. Brings us in the back. And, I have a lot of friends there. And they're all like, oh, my God, so good to see you. And just meeting a lot of people. Yeah. You're giddy. You're very giddy inside. And you're very appreciative. And it lets you know, like, you never burn bridges. If you're going to burn a bridge with somebody, like, you better make sure you got the right type of, flames to go with it, and you ain't going back on that bridge. And you just got to know, like, it's one of those things for anybody that doesn't think dreams can come true. they come true.
Yeah.
You just got to put your all into it. You can't expect it to just happen. And that's one thing Ronald has always taught me, Oh, you want this? Do it. Oh, well, you think it's going to be easy? It ain't going to be easy. It's going to be hard. I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's funny because you telling me that, I tell other people that now. They're like, oh, that makes so much sense. I'm like, by the way, Ronald said it. And they're like, oh, now we know.
So. Yo, because you do that for me too. Like, it's obviously not you yelling at me all the time, but sometimes, like, you remember when I first started stand up, and I was like, I just need somebody that's not an audience, a friend. I need a friend to be here.
Yeah.
I need a friend to just be here because I was nervous. I was like, I couldn't handle it. Like, so it was nice to see your face when we had, the first couple shows, and it was good motivation, man, because we got to support each other. Because if we don't, who's going to?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And you need those type of friends too, where if you're on that, it's called if you're on that high and you think you did good, like, how did I do? You need those friends to be like, well, I mean, you did good, but let me tell you what you messed up on.
Right.
And, because if everybody's like, oh, you did great, and if it's something you need to work on, you're never going to work on it.
Right.
And that's something I 100% learned from Ronald. So being around so many wrestlers and all that, they'll be like, hey, did you watch my match? Did you like it? No. What do you mean no? Like, let me tell you what you did. The hard cam is right there. Do this next time. And then next time they'll do it. And they're like, what'd you think of the match? I loved it. You did this. You paced it well and all that. And that's why, like, there are a lot of people, you'll get some people that'll come to me and they'll be like, oh, well, he's just a photographer, or he just books for the girls. And then people will be like, have you talked to him? So, and I always just learn, like, just be real, because you're not here to hurt anybody's feelings.
Right.
You want everybody to succeed. And the one thing I've learned in my life is, why would you want to be on the top of the mountain by yourself? Mm-hmm. Why don't you bring everybody and y'all party together?
Yeah. You literally just did this for me. Like, remember that song?
Yeah.
So that was a song that I was supposed to put on a mixtape, Donte. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did the first version. Blake heard it.
Right.
He was like, record it again. And my cousin came back to me. He was like, Blake said to record it again. And I was like, Blake said it. So I'm going to record it again. We recorded it again, and it sounds 3,000% better.
Yeah.
Telling me parts to hit on more. Mm-hmm. It really was a pretty big deal. Once the second version sounds like, if you would have heard the first version, you probably wouldn't have. You cut this off.
He was not confident on the first version. I was like, yo, you're so monotone. And I'm like, I get that you're saying repercussion. I'm like, you got to say it like this. And then the second version came out, and I mean, you would have thought, like, Kanye. Like, yeah, that's my new son. Like, he was so confident. He's like, yeah, it's nothing. And I was just like, it's just small little things. And I remember I told Tehran that. I was just like, if you feel like it's not 100%, always re-record it. Yeah. Because when we were doing music, shout out to my friend Mike used to always, Webster. Yeah. He used to,
He's meticulous, man.
He was very meticulous. And he would just be sitting there. You would do your whole verse, and he'd be like, he would click the button, and you'd be like, well, why is the music playing again? He'd be like, oh, you're re-recording it. And, I'm like, huh? He's like, oh, you're re-recording it. Yeah, you got to redo this and do it like this. So, like, it's just small little things that you pick up on in your life that's just drilled in your head. Yeah. And you hear different people's voices of people that's helped you out along the way.
Right. Cool.
That's cool. So, like, you got up to this point. Like, what's next for you? Where are your next steps?
I look at it like this. In the indies, there's a women's company called Shimmer. That's I've been to one Shimmer show, mm-hmm. but I haven't been to a Shimmer weekend just to experience it. That's been a goal, but the ultimate goal is WWE.
Okay.
I've been working on this since I was 3 years old. in my opinion.
Right.
You know, and I love photography. I love editing. I don't love how long it takes to edit sometimes, you know. But this is what I always tell people, because I'll get certain wrestlers, they'll be like, well, I don't understand why I have to pay for it. And I'll go, well, if you don't want to pay for it, I can show you my phone and show you, show you what you look like when this person took this picture on their phone of you. You're going to, I mean, look, regardless, a lot of them are going to sell anyway. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm putting time into you. I'm putting time to make you look your best. If you're going to give this to WWE, I want you to look your best. Yeah. And that's even if they're wrestling. You know, I tell my girls all the time, I'm like, look, in these matches, from the first match to the main event, right, I want it all to have a main event feel. I want everybody to look their best in the ring, out the ring, promo-wise, and as a brand. Right. And that's one thing over the last couple years, I feel like I've been teaching more, is how to brand yourself. You know, and a lot of people pick up on it, and I'll get calls, and they'll be like, man, that small thing you said about branding just made me like $30 more. Good. You know, like, good. Like, oh, I want to thank you. Don't thank me. Just keep doing it. And the other big thing is, you know, and this is another thing I learned from Ronald, is I tell people all the time, don't tell me anything. Oh, yeah, I want to do that. I'm like, just show me actions. Right. And with the photography part of it, the big thing I drill to people is, especially in our business, there are people that take pictures, and then they're photographers. Right. You know, if you want to go to a photographer, you'll know who's a photographer and a person that takes pictures. Right. If you get your picture back like 2 hours later, a lot of the time they're not really paying attention. They're just quick, boom, boom, boom. I call them Instagram filters, giving it to you. You know, it takes time to really make somebody look their best. Right. And like, it's a funny story. I remember doing a photo shoot with Ronald. You know, he's like, oh, I want to do a photo shoot, you know, for his business. And I was looking, I'm looking at the pictures and all this stuff, and they were fairly easy to edit. Yeah. You know, but even the small things, I'm like, all right, I'm going to take this out. He ain't brushed his wave over here. I'm going to put a wave. You know, like, just small things. Yeah. Because I'm like, if he's putting this on whatever, I want people to be like, oh, he's handsome. Yeah. You know, and I want him to be like, wow, like, he really took time to go to someone to make sure not only he looked his best, but the finished product would be his best too. Yeah. So for me, for a lot of this stuff, like I said, I love photography and everything, but I've always enjoyed helping people, and women's wrestling has a huge place in my heart. And whether it's a talent scout, a coach, an agent, or something, even if it is photography, to be a part of the WWE brand is my ultimate goal.
Right. Cool. And I think what's important is you taking that level of care for somebody else's work, so it reflects on you. Because if you spend that much time working on people and what they do in the ring, it'll show when you take those pictures as well, because it makes that image that much sharper for you. And for you to have that in your portfolio, it just makes your work stronger overall. So it benefits everybody. It's not just you or the wrestler. Everybody that's involved, it works out better for them.
That's the goal. Like, when people look at my resume, I want them to be like, oh yeah, well, we do like WSU. We do like that wrestler. We do like him. Oh wow, he has him on board or her on board, or that. Yeah, that the ultimate goal is for everybody to win. Look, everybody wants to make money. We all do, and all that stuff. But I've always, since being a kid, been taught it's better to give than receive, because then when you do receive, you know, it'll be something of a more greater value. And they was like, that doesn't necessarily mean money. Right, and when I was younger, I didn't really understand that. You know, like, what are you talking about? Right. You know, but as you get older, you know, you never know what you may receive. Right. It could be love. It could be a thank you. It can be a, I will remember that. Right. Or it could be money. Whatever the case may be, when you do receive what you receive, it's of a greater value.
Right. That's cool. Were there any moments that you had to like bounce back from while you were going through this process of taking pictures, or you felt like this isn't what I'm going to end up doing?
Oh, yes. There's times where you get really burnt out. I remember I had to do a job, and I had to do it's 90 plus pictures in like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my wrist got messed up. Like my finger's still not the same to this day. Well, no, I'm lying. It's good, but for a while it wasn't the same.
Right.
You know, and there were times where like you'll sit there and you'll think, like, man, well, I'm not actually in the ring, so is this even worth it? Like, am I ever going to get a look since I'm not actually in the ring?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I go in the ring? And I'm like, I'm not wrestling. No. I'll manage, maybe. But in this business, in the wrestling business, it is a very tricky business. And, I mean, it can mentally really mess with you.
Mm.
And, you got to have a small circle of people you trust. And trust me, there have been moments where I had to, like, take time back, and tell people, like, hey, don't talk to me for 2 weeks.
Right.
I'm going to go play Friday the 13th. Don't talk to me. Or, hey, I'm not going to talk wrestling for a month. Or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times, but I have to give a lot of credit to a lot of different friends, wrestling friends, that are not in the business. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have the, I wouldn't be as I don't want to say confident. I wouldn't have all the mental capacity to continue wanting to do it, because it takes a lot. And especially, like, look, you don't always work for the greatest people. You may work for somebody who wants to rip you off.
Yeah.
You may work for somebody that'll tell you, you'll never make it to WWE, so get used to the indies. It's happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And instead of dwelling on that, use it as motivation.
Cool. So if I'm a brand new wrestling fan, I'm trying to like dig into some wrestling. Give me 2 women, 2 men I should be looking at right now.
Now, does this mean if everything like WWE and the indies, or just the indies, or what?
Everything. 2 women, 2 men.
2 women, 2 men.
We can eliminate one of the women right now. We know who it is.
I don't want to be biased. I'm gonna say you look at Mia Yim.
Right.
And I'd say you look at Charlotte Flair.
Okay.
Look at Charlotte Flair. She's full package. She,
Yeah.
she's got her dad's swag and the athleticism. She's more athletic than almost anybody, male or female.
Yeah.
Men, I think if you want to be in awe and want to be intrigued, I would say you would look at somebody like a Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
Because that's a nice little entity, And look, we're in a day and age where the bad guys are cool.
Yeah.
So if you want to have like one of those like cool bad guys, you would look at him. And another guy, there's so many. It's legit. So many. There's, I would say, it's hard, man. It's hard to think of like another guy because there's a lot of good talent. Mm-hmm. There's a young guy. Funny enough, if you're a wrestling fan, I think you should pay attention to a young guy. His name is MJF, Maxwell Jacob Fryman.
Okay.
He's very young. He's like 2 years in, but this kid has it.
Right.
And he's one of those guys that he's athletic. You want to see some of that athletic stuff, watch him. Mm-hmm. But if you listen to him talk and you listen to his persona and how he interacts with the wrestling fans and all that, you'd be intrigued. Because you, in your mind, he's the type of guy that'll, if you're going into it just as a wrestling fan, you'll be driving home and you'll be like, I hate that guy because he really thinks he's better than me. And for me, if you can do that to the crowd, like if you can investly make people call their friends and be like, I don't know if I like this guy, because I think he's a prick.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing your job right, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like if you're a good guy, like there's you know, like you have people like let's just say Leo Rush.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he is in our area, you know, district. So when I watched him last night, and I've known Leo for a long time, like the crowd was invested. He was our good guy, and like fans, like there were he was in a match with 6 people, and one of them was a former WWE talent, Joey Mercury, and the fans, yeah, you know, we love you, Joey. But when Leo came out, the whole entire arena was standing up. Wow. Standing up, and they're just chanting his name, and kids are like, I love him, and I'm just looking like, I remember this kid in the back. I remember sitting in the back of a car, squinched up with this kid and Patrick Clark, who is Velveteen Dream on NXT, and we're squinched up going to a dojo for training, just talking, and now with over 500-600 people, every person was out of their seat.
Wow.
You know, and for me, just watching that for him, I was like, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, they genuinely loved that guy.
Cool.
So
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. That was good, man.
Yeah.
I guess we can get into the favorites because we kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
I got a few that I've written down. So, actually, before we get into that, I did want to touch on this. You talked about YouTube earlier. Mm-hmm. So, like, what were you looking for when you went on YouTube? Just for people that are trying to get into photography, what was your process?
How to use DSLR camera. What is difference between lights? If I buy okay. So yeah, that was like the first 2 things. What are these numbers on the DSLR camera? Mm-hmm. What does this mean? I'm confused. And I would look at things like, what's the best type of lighting to buy? You know, if you want to do studio photography as opposed to nature photography, what's the better camera? Mm-hmm. Do you go Nikon? Do you go Canon?
Right.
Learning angles. What does a reflector do? You know?
Yeah.
What's the difference between an umbrella and a softbox? You know, like, right. So what I would do is I would like go on Google, type in whatever model camera I had, and go and just be like, what do you buy? I would write down everything that they would say you would buy, and then I would take, at the very beginning, I would take different days and be like, all right, I'm going to take 5 hours, and I'm going to write softbox, and I'm going to look up everything that's for softbox, write it down, compare them, and then be like, what will this do for me? How can I make this work? So I would break down every little thing about an SLR camera and take days and just concentrate on one thing. And then when I would have it, or I would have somebody to shoot with, I'd be like, all right, so this isn't a real YouTube name, and if it is, I'm sorry, but Joe Schmo 44 said, when you're taking a picture, make sure you stand like this, and I would have that in my brain, and at that time I'd have it like I had notes in my iPad, and I would see what worked for me, and then when things worked for me, I would take it, go through the editing process, and be like, okay, so next time I can put the camera on this mode, and this will make it look better. And then I finally would start seeing what worked for me. And then when I would do shoots with different people, I would, I would read what people would say, like, oh, that looks really good. And then I would do a different type of like style one, and they'll be like, oh man, like he really outdid himself. So I was like, boom, okay, I can put that one.
Right,
so
right.
that's the advice I give. Like you, and look, in my opinion, I don't think I know everything about SLR camera to this day.
Yeah.
But graduating from the school of YouTube has got me where I'm at right now. Right. And also I have had help from different photography friends and different editing friends. Like Ronald's taught me stuff in editing. Our friend Todd taught me. I remember I went to Todd's house and just watched for 3.5 hours, and he's like, okay, do this, okay, do that. And I was looking at him like, I'm not doing that. But and it's funny because even with Valance, like when we were at RCW, me and Valance would do graphics. And I would do it one way, and he would look and be like, well, why are you doing it that way? And I would look at his computer and be like, well, what are you doing it that way? But it was still making like almost the same thing.
Right.
So that's why I say everybody's different, but, learn what works for you.
Right. Cool, man.
Yeah. So what I was mentioning before, we do like a segment. It's called The Favorites. We just kind of like some rapid fire things. You talk about, let's say you like your favorite movie or something like that. So, do you have like a favorite photographer that you go to as far as like wrestling or inspiration or anything like that?
I was inspired by a photographer named Lee South. Lee South was he still is. Shout out to Lee South. He is the guy. He shot a lot of women that I looked up to. I'll make this short. He shot like my friend Daphne, and I remember Daphne reached out to me and was like, "Look, I love your work. Come do our photography for a calendar." And I used to study her pictures because I wanted to learn more poses. And it was always by Lee South. So Lee South was the guy that inspired me.
Which like your favorite photo that you've taken up to this point?
I have a lot of them. There's a photo of a woman named Kaylee Ray. And we did like a blood theme. Like she made the blood. Oh my god, the process of this was disgusting. It was sticky. It was crazy. But like, if you ever see the picture, like she's got blood splatter, and like it's like blood on the walls. It was like we took it from Psycho, and that's one of my favorite. I've recreated like Cruel Intentions. American Beauty. I remember I ordered 400 rose petals. There was a hole in the bag, and like they sent me. Long story short, I have like 2,100 now. So I did a picture with a young lady in the rose petals, and that's one of my favorites. And I work with a talented wrestler named Leva Bates, and she does cosplay. So like we'll do. There's so many. Like Kevin Owens is one of my favorite. AJ Styles. There's a ton.
Okay.
Definitely a ton.
Favorite venue to go to?
Favorite venue. I like small venues. There's a famous venue. Basically, it was the ECW Arena.
Man, I missed that.
And, they still run now, but they're no longer the ECW Arena. But I think that was my favorite because we got a lot of memories in there. I remember when we were just we got invited to sit in what they called the Bird's Nest, which was up top. It's like me, Valance, and Ronald, and we're just sitting there, and Valance just looks at us and is like, "Did y'all just see Mickey Rourke just walk by us?"
Oh my God!
Yeah,
yes.
And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, he's right there. And they were filming a wrestler, but we didn't know he was just gonna walk by us. Yeah. But I think the ECW Arena, or the Arena, is what they ended up calling it. That's my favorite venue.
Wow. I remember that because Darren Aronofsky, who did wrestler in Requiem for a Dream. Yeah. I was like, I know that dude. I've seen that dude before. He came in. He's like mapping the shots out. Yeah. Mickey Rourke gets hit over the head with some fake glass. Yeah. I was like, man, this is nuts.
Well, also I thought that was funny. There's a funny memory about that. Is we were in the Bird's Nest one time, and Ronald, I want to say he brought like a PlayStation Vita or something, and he's playing it, and I'm just heckling him behind him. And I forgot what the commercial was, but there was like a PlayStation Vita commercial. Yeah. And like I made the comment to him as he was playing it, and he's just looking back, and he's just shaking his head, and I'm just like, we're at a wrestling show. Put your Vita away.
God, man.
All right, so favorite wrestler of all time.
My favorite wrestler of all time is the Great Muta. The Great Muta is my favorite wrestler. What he did, like the paint, he was like the first like ooh and ah guy, the cartwheel into the elbow, the moonsault, like his moonsault was so crisp. And when I was younger, all I wanted to do was spit mist in people's face. I was just like, oh man. And even to this day, you know, it's funny because we had a huge angle at WSU. Mm-hmm. It was between two teams. One team was the Reckoning, and the other one was like Team Leva. And it's all based around a feud between talented wrestler Sue Young and Leva Bates. And I remember we had Sue beat Leva for her Spirit title. And like I made sure, because Sue plays an amazing like undead bride character, wears paint like Muda and all that. Mm-hmm. And I remember every time I talked to Sue on the phone, I'm like, bring your mist, bring your mist, bring your mist, because I was like, I'm not gonna go my lifetime if I was seeing somebody miss somebody. I remember she misted Leva and they cheated and she won, and then we did an angle where like I said, Leva cosplays, mm-hmm. so we made her Stone Cold Leva Bates. And what she did was she cost Sue her title. She shook up Sierra Mist, put it in her mouth, and she misted, you know, Sue, because it was Sierra Mist.
Right.
You know, and even in our final match, we had a close friend of mine, Christina, like she missed somebody. You know, so Great Muda is my favorite of all time. Great Muda, I still want to meet you. And Scott Steiner, too. Yeah, it's two people I want to meet in life.
Cool. Mm-hmm. I have a part B to that question. Cena or Undertaker?
Cena. Hey, let me make sure that everybody hears what I say. CENA. The GOAT. The GOAT, John Cena. Look, I respect The Undertaker. The Undertaker is one of the greatest to do it. It was a blessing to be at WrestleMania this year and see what the people are saying is his last match. But when it's all said and done, and when that GOAT of a man named John Cena retires, he will be the greatest of all time.
All right.
Just saying. John Cena, everybody.
Oh, God. Wow. Any more favorites?
So technical question, favorite camera?
Canon.
Canon.
My favorite Canon, and if anybody wants to donate it to me, feel free, is a Canon Mark III. Mm. If I ever get my hands on a Canon Mark III, there's really no need to get another camera. You just get lens. They have a Canon Mark IV now, and funny story, when I got my passport pictures done, they took a picture with the Canon Mark IV, and I looked at the lady and I was like, can I just touch it? And she let me take pictures, and I was like, I love the Canon Mark IV, but favorite camera is Canon Mark III.
Dope. Mm. So we have this part of the podcast called the Branded 10. We basically get all of our guests that we can get a hold of to do it to make a 10-song playlist.
Like the 80-90 percentile.
We're pretty good. We're pretty good at capturing these.
Speaking of, we got to do ours for the live show.
We do. We're gonna do one. We do. A 10-song playlist.
Dylon.
So you don't even have to do it right now. We'll like give you the assignment, and if you could text it to me at some point,
I'll do that
this week. Yeah. That'll be dope. What albums are you listening to currently? Oh, you know what? Since people don't listen to albums anymore, what name a couple singles that you're listening to right now?
Well, I am currently listening to the Jay-Z album.
What'd you think about it?
Funny enough, I really enjoyed it. I'm very all over the place when it comes to music. Like when I do my photography, a lot of things that got me through some of the pictures that everybody loves is Justin Timberlake. Hey Justin, if you're listening, if it wasn't for you, a lot of people wouldn't have got their pictures. You know? But no, I'm still listening to. I'm giving Drake's album a re-listen. I still love Kendrick's album. Funny enough, I've been listening to old stuff lately.
Okay.
Like, I guess the emotions of me catching. I had to see this on the BET Awards because I
thought you were going for Destiny Child's when you said emotions.
No.
Okay.
Because I don't really keep up with the BET Awards, but I had to see the New Edition thing.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it's so good.
I've watched it a couple times. Man,
yeah,
and it's still.
I went on iTunes and I was like, I have 69 cents. I'm buying Can You Stand in the Rain? You know, like, so I've been listening to just a lot of different stuff. And funny enough, the thing that I listen to every day, and this isn't me, you know, like blowing any smoke up anybody, but I listen to the Catch the Fade EP every day.
Really?
Every day.
You like it?
Yeah.
Thanks,
I get upset though, because I'm just like, y'all could have gave me 25 more minutes of life.
Right.
You know, but I love what you guys are doing.
Thanks, man.
But no, I legit listen to it every day.
I appreciate it.
You know, and I listen to the unreleased first versions of certain songs as well.
For real?
Yeah.
That intro?
Yeah.
I love that intro.
I love that intro.
It was dark though.
You were very violent in it.
Yeah. It was Bin Laden references.
Yeah,
I was just like, man, that's actually, it changed the whole feel of it. And I was just like, we can't put this on. It wouldn't match it.
Yeah. No, the way you did the new intro, I was like, that goes a lot more into what the rest of it
Right,
is.
but
You know, but yeah, the first one was very dark.
it was super. The beat is dark. The rhymes are dark. I was just like,
I was just like, what is he going through?
yeah. I was feeling it that day. I
Yeah,
was
you
like,
were.
But thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Anything else you think I've done?
I think that's pretty
we're
much
good.
it. Where can we find you, find your work? Where can they reach out to you?
You can reach out to me on social media. I am It's Blizz, ITSBLIZ on both Twitter and Instagram. And you can catch me on my website, www.blizzphotography.com. But I'm more active on Twitter. I'm slacking on Instagram, but trust me, I'm still trying to put out pictures every day. And that's the best places to reach me.
Okay. That's what's up, man. As far as the podcast, BRNDD Podcast on all the platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out to us there. When you're downloading, make sure you leave us some comments back, letting us know what you like, what you don't like, if you have anybody that you want us to bring on. As far as the brand, Debonair Material is the website, Deb Material on Twitter and Instagram, Debonair Material. What about you, Ron?
Who is Ron James on Twitter and Instagram? Working on a website or something. More Catch the Fade music's coming out. My cousin and I are working on some stuff. So if you just look up SoundCloud, The Way In, it's just The Way -in. Way is in wait, WEIGH. It's a 4-song EP. Been getting some really good feedback from it. I got stopped. Somebody recognized my face on the picture. It was weird, man. Like, it's kind of strange how some of that stuff happens. I'm not really like good with stuff like that yet. But The Way In, Catch the Fade. SoundCloud's about to disappear, so I don't know where we're gonna.
Well, apparently not. According to Chance.
That's
a whole weird thing. We'll talk about that after, because that's a whole nother podcast.
Like, what is Chance doing?
Did you see the things with Justice League? Like between him
and...
Okay,
did you see what's happening with him in Def Poetry Jam?
No. Like I said, it's a whole nother podcast. I think
Chances have like 4 headlines, 2 of them bad,
right.
2 of them good. It's like, it's interesting. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Give us some feedback on the Branded Live episode if you can.
Yeah.
We do have a Facebook page.
Yeah, and then hashtag BRNDD. If you want to use a hashtag, you can do that. We'll check that.
Yeah, so
I think that's it. Right?
And thank you everybody that's been kind of spreading the word and not telling us you've been spreading the word.
Yeah,
it's been very weird because
like 2012, 2013.
One of the
Blake
friends
actually shot some
podcast
photos
somebody
for my
else,
brand when I first started.
I really appreciate it. Blake,
Graffiti
thank you so
Alley
much for
was one of
coming.
my shirts.
Thanks for
It was a
sharing
quick
your
shoot.
story.
We were like an hour or something like that. But I was like, I need to get this to put together for my website. But
Because I shot the young lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what made me think about it during this context.
I don't
It's
even
so
remember
late.
that.
Yes.
I don't even remember,
I remember
that.
it, yep.
And it's not to say like it's not an important memory. I literally do not.
What's funny is when you were like, you met Donte a million times and it slipped my brain, but it was I was like, yeah, because we did that shoot.
Yeah.
And then like you just brought up again, I was like, I just said that earlier, but it slipped my brain as we were talking. So yeah. And that's like, matter of fact, that is one of my favorite shoots.
It's
I actually have one of those pictures it's on my website, and it's on the like outdoor pose photography.
Wow. So again, I don't know if I said it, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Do you wanna record something for it since we didn't record?
I just started recording it.
Oh, we're talking right now.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Is this?
Do we want to do it again?
Is this how when drug dealers say something real personal and then they hear enough and then the cops scale down?
Yeah.
Like
the window.
Oh shit. But yeah, I'm glad that it's recorded like this actually, because I did not remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
Fuck.
I remember that. And it would, like you said, it was really quick. Like, but I remember you were like, I need this now, and I was like, all right. Yeah, so I remember.
Because I don't know if I was trying to submit it for something or I was trying to put my lookbook together for a magazine or something like that, or for my website. But I was like, I think that's what it was. I think I was releasing my website, and I was like, I need to put these images in there.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that. Because
and I was riding with you. I don't know where we were going that day, but you were like, my friend, he does photography. I'll hit him up. I'll see if I can get it done.
I think I just realized what it is that I do. I didn't think about it before. I think I might be a producer. I think I might be an executive producer.
The EP?
I never realized what it is that I've been doing all these years. I've been just putting people together. I should try to put a...
I mean, I did just tell you how many times I've watched Can't Stop, Won't Stop.
Yeah, right.
We just had this conversation. So,
damn it.
But yeah, I that was that because it's funny. There's certain women that I work with, and I always be like, man, I did this shoot in Graffiti Alley. I want to get you there because of their looks.
Yeah.
And I always think about that shoot because that's the only time. Because I remember I'll call Tehran and I'll be like, can we do Graffiti Alley? And he's like, yeah, you can do the outside. It's just you pay for the inside.
Right.
So I think about that a lot. Man.
Jesus Christ, man.
Shit.
That stuff, like, sometimes I'll be in a space where I functioned before, years before. I did stand-up in that building, like, 3 months ago. And they had, like, a panel about race relations in Baltimore, and I did some stand up with Pierre. Pierre and I did stand up together. We got on stage and went back and forth, which I've never done before. And we did that shoot there.
That's so crazy. I've been and it's like I know Graffiti Alley, they have these things where it's like they're events. They're like pay $25 and you can shoot that, and I always want to do it, but then I'm never home. You know, the ones I really want to do, I'll be in Florida. You know, so,
right.
But yeah, it's funny because I just was talking to Tehran a while ago because I remember he did that video, one of his videos with the
yeah.
And I was like, can you do that? And I just was talking to one of the women wrestlers, and I was like, when you come to Baltimore next, I'm gonna shoot you at your Graffiti Alley. I was like, I only shot that once because it's that, and then there's a sunflower field that I want to shoot in, but you only can this is like the perfect time to go,
right?
You know, so. Oh
shit. Maybe we can work on something again sometime soon.
Yeah,
but I don't know what made me think of that just now, but I was like, we need to.
Yeah.
I'm available. I mean, like I said, edits from 2013. I look at them sometimes, I'm like, gross.
You spit on the...
Yeah, like even my concept back then, I feel the same way about the stuff I did back then, but people still like it. So.
Yeah,
man,
if people still like it, that's all that matters.
It's just because we're looking at it from that critical eye. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when I did that shoot for Status Apparatus, man, I was just like, what the fuck was it? I still have people tell me that they liked the photos that you took. Still, and I don't even know where they're seeing these pictures at. I still, like, maybe because you can just Google it. Because you can just look there and it's just fragments of pictures and stuff like that.
Timeless,
man.
Yeah, like you say, we all have very critical eyes.
Yeah. Is this how porn stars feel? I watch Big Booty Brazilian Orgy 12, and I remember that scene you did, brother. When you was hitting.
How do you have that kind of conversation?
Is that how Brian Pumper is? Is he just somebody just come up on him
while he's buying the eggs?
Right, that he's about to dump on somebody's head.
Like, do people come up to him and go, "I know why you got them eggs"?
Yeah.
You know, like, do people just scream that?
And which eggs are just for scrambling and which eggs for dunking on people's heads?
Like, you gonna buy the brown eggs?
Probably the brown eggs. Probably the cheap eggs. So this dude just cracks eggs over people's heads when he's having. You know what? I'm not even. It's a weird. It's a very strange
weird rabbit hole. But
yeah, it's insane that all the connections. Yeah, it just keeps happening. Yeah. And the good part is, like, we all have a fairly reasonable, like, nobody's going to say Donte. I'm not going to mention Donte's name and somebody's going to go, like, Donte. I'm gonna punch him in his face when I see him. Nobody's gonna do that when I mention your name. A couple people might say that for me. Honestly, I'm not even like.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's been some situations.
You're right.
I'd say you're in the 90th percentile for like I guess in the past decade that it hasn't been your fault.
Yeah, nobody's like pulled out.
He does wild out though.
Yeah.
And when he wild out, like have a phone, have Facebook Live.
You see me.
Yeah, because he says some of the most reckless things. Some of it
To people's faces. It's very important that somebody's looking me in my eyes when I say it to them.
Yeah.
So
I think the funniest thing I've seen in person, it might have been Sidebar.
and when
it was this dude sitting like next to the stage and his girlfriend, and you complimented his girlfriend while he was sitting there.
Oh man, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yo, other day I was talking.
I was like, I don't know how this is going to finish, but I have to be prepared to fight this dude.
That happened the other day. I was on stage and this girl was very attractive, and I was like, "Yo, you're a very pretty woman. Like, pretty. Let me tell you how pretty you are. You can sell fit tea on Instagram." And everybody was like, "What?" It's like you got promo codes in your bio. You sell fit tea on Instagram. And she was like,
contact info in the box.
Donte, have you ever seen when Ronald does the wild out where he jumps and possibly kicks like a chair?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, you have to see
seen
the kick in the chair. He does that when he's happy too.
Yeah, that's
like,
my celebratory.
I mean, I've seen it in like everyday life, but not actual.
Like when he cheats in a game, he like wins.
But
he'll
look,
he'll kick a chair.
Can I tell you something? When that WWE 2K18 comes out.
Oh, speaking of, did you just see the commercial for it? The Kurt Angle.
Yeah. Kurt Angle's response to Seth.
You gonna get this work in that game. You hear me?
If we were to call Tehran and he were to go and you were to go, Tehran, what was it like playing Blake? He would hang up on you.
Okay.
Like I said, I beat him with hip toss, drop kick, body slam, razor's edge, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Wow.
So I created this event. You might have heard of it. There's Black History Month. That's February. I've created a month called Black Eye History Month, where I inflict damage on people. And the thing is, Black Eye History Month can come anytime I want it to come.
Oh my goodness.
Especially when you want this work in that game.
You're not gonna
and 2K. I'm looking at you.
You're not gonna beat me neither. Well, you might beat me in 2K. I have had a 4-year layoff. I don't even understand it. But WWE, you're not gonna beat me.
All right. Oh.
Seriously, I hope that we can remain friends afterwards because I like to do like terrible things. Like, who's the lowest rated dude? Okay, you pick Brock. I'm gonna pick him.
Oh, now you just talking crazy at this point.
Talking reckless.
You know, I like to do so he doesn't like that. I like to get out of the ring.
Yeah.
It's an option in the game. If I do it, he's like, I'm cheating.
Been in game since.
I'll punch you in your face, then get out the ring.
Well, see.
that's part of the game.
I see why you want to beat him in
part
that
of the
fashion.
game.
See,
So I understand.
there's an option now in the game where, because he used to do this thing where he would just run.
Dude,
Now,
I will.
you can't run. Like, you
get tired.
You get tired.
Yeah.
So I'll just let him run, and I'll wait until he gets tired. Body slam, hip toss, drop kick. Keep it simple.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
We'll see. Well, thank you for that. I'm very motivated now.
You should be. I'm gonna drop, what is it, $130? Because I'm not getting the deluxe. I'm getting whatever
The
it's gonna
super
be.
ultra
Yeah,
platinum.
I want that version.
Look, this is how pumped I am about this. I'm gonna take anabolic steroids, and I'm gonna worry about the erectile dysfunction later. Then I'm gonna beat your ass because I'm gonna be buff at this point because I take the anabolic steroids.
Still gotta work out though, right?
Yeah, you do. You can't just sit around and
You
get.
will turn into a square. You would just be shaped like a square if you don't work out. Just to let you know.
Look, I'm about to get the Barry Bonds. No, what was his name? Sosa. I'm about to get the Sosa pale skin. Hit you with the Casper skin. I'm gonna beat you like that.
Well, the thing that's going to make it so funny is a lot of people that we know will be in this game. So I'm going to purposely be like, oh man, remember when you met him? Yeah, and I'm going to beat you with him.
Jesus Christ.
That's what I'm gonna do.
That's just insulting.
I'm just saying.
That's just insulting.
But yeah, we've gone down this weird rabbit hole. I guess we can.
Yeah, you can stop it back there, but
Yeah.
he's talking
All right.
crazy. I can't eat your